Alright, so how do we do blend shapes? Blend shapes. So this is going to be our original geometry, and we always want to name our stuff. So I'm going to just go ahead and name it original sphere. And before we start anything, if you're doing a model, if you're doing, prop rigging, what you want to do is you want to delete your history on your model, and you want to freeze your transformations, because this is going to be your origin point, and you always want to make sure that's where it needs to be, because if you try and switch it later, it's going to break your connections with your blend shapes, and you don't want that. So when you go to modify, freeze transformations, that's going to set everything to 0 for you. And then you go to edit, delete by type, history. So now we're down to our origin point. So this is our original geometry. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to Control D to make a second sphere. Now this one is going to be our bridge sphere. And what that basically is going to do is it's going to be a buffer zone between the original geometry and all the blend shapes. So if one of your blend shapes break, or something goes wrong, you don't have to worry about it because it's not directly connected to your geometry. Okay, so now that we have our bridge, we're going to go ahead and Control D a couple more of these, and these are going to be our blend shapes. And I'm just going to do 4. So we have 4 blend shapes. Right now there is nothing different about them. Basically what the blend shape is going to do is it's going to change the geometry over here. Now we have our 4 blend shapes, and I'm going to go ahead and use my soft select to do this because it's nice and quick. So I'm going to double click my move tool, go down to my soft select, which is check marked. I'm going to right click, go to vertices, and I'll make my fallout 1. So there we go. And you can see the fallout by the color. So yellow is the strongest, red is somewhat strong, and as it starts to get black, it's barely anything at all. So I can go ahead and grab different parts of the sphere and change them however which way I want. So those kind of look like cat ears to me. So I'll just leave it like that. And then I can do the same thing over here. I'll just select the center. And I'm going to go to orthographic front so I can do this properly. Okay. So select the center. And I'm going to go ahead and just size that down. Give myself like an hourglass shape. So that's 2, and I've got 2 more to go. So vertices, I'm going to grab the top here. I'm going to size it up. Give myself like an acorn type shape. Now when you're doing this with faces, it will be, frown, smile, things like that. But for this, we're just using simple geometry. And then I'm going to go back into vertices, and I think I'll just grab this side. And I could size it in. And pull it over. And I can really just do whatever I want with this, which is fun. So now I've got my 4 different blend shapes here, my bridge, and my original geometry. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my soft select. Don't want that anymore. I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to go to my perspective. And I'm going to make my first deformation from my bridge to my original geometry. And you're always going to choose what's going to affect the other. So in this case, the bridge is going to affect the original geometry, and the blend shape is going to affect the bridge. So it's going to go down the line. So first and foremost, I select the bridge. It's already been named. And I select the original geometry. Then I'm going to go up to Create Deformers, Blend Shapes, Options box. And the reason why I'm touching the Options box instead of just clicking it is it allows me to actually name my blend shape node. So I can call this Bridge. Then I just create, and we have our first one done. Now we have our other 4. And before we start this up, we want to name them. So I'll just call this cat ears, hourglass, acorn, and I'll call that rock because I have no idea what that looks like. Okay, so now that we have our 4 blend shapes named, we're going to connect those as well, and as I said before, it's going to be whatever affects the last one. So the bridge here affects the original, the blend affects the bridge. So we're going to grab our cat ears, shift select our bridge, and then we're going to go to Create Deformations, Blend Shapes, Options box. And we'll call it cat ears. And create. And we're going to do the same for the other ones. Blend shape, hourglass, create, create deformations, blend shape, options box. Oh. Always remember to select your bridge after you've done this. And this one's acorn. And this one's rock. Okay, so we have our 4 blend shapes connected to our bridge and our bridge connected to our original geometry. So now in order to get these to work, we're going to go to, give me a sec, I have to remember. Okay, so we're going to go to Windows, we're going to go to Animation Editors, and we're going to go to Blend Shape. And it pops up with all of our blend shapes, which is awesome. And the way we get them to work is first we're going to find our bridge, and we're going to turn this dial all the way up, because right now it's at 0. And then we're going to find our different blend shapes. So as you can see, we can change our blend shapes when we dial it up and down. And each one is connected properly, which is great. So now that we've finished that, our blend shapes are done. And in our next lesson, we will show how to connect them to our controls.